Welcome back to this week's episode of Friends of Kayla. I have here today with me Veronica Bayarev Kissling, and she is a mindset, purpose, and identity coach who helps strong, ambitious women find their purpose and overcome limiting beliefs. So, Veronica, welcome. So great to see you.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks so much for making time. So, Veronica, first and foremost, how old are you? And tell us where you're from also.
I'm 28. I believe. Yes, I'm 28 and I'm from Costa Rica, born and raised.
Okay, but moved and now live in Miami.
Yes, I always wanted to live here. So growing up, I had an apartment here. Like my grandparents had one. And I remember always running through like the bay in Brickell and being like, I want to live here. I don't know how, but this is going to be my home. And that's currently where I live, like Brickell. And I run through the loop that I always used to run.
Talk about manifestation, which we will get into like the bulk of this conversation, I'm sure. But yeah, no, that is so wild. I actually don't know as many Costa Ricans in Miami. There's a few of you. We have some mutuals, but not as big of a population here. I mean, Costa Rica is very small, but okay, well, Veronica, I have so much to chat with you about. I think this topic of like manifestation, overcoming limiting beliefs, and just myself being an ambitious woman, I think that term in general kind of gets a bad rap these days. Like I think even last night I was at a networking event and these women who are like in their 40s and 50s were saying how like feminism is the demise of like women today. And I wanted to start out with that question and ask you like what you think about just like feminism in general and what has gone wrong with feminism.
So first off, I want to start that I used to be very like hyper independent. Like, yes, I can do it all. Like not feminism to the extreme that people think about it, but in a sense, I was proud of that, right? Like, independent, strong woman, all of these things. And throughout the years, and I think my husband even has like made that even like shift like even deeper. It's like, I don't want to be that. I think we are the reason why so many women, they say like there is inequity in jobs. There is less opportunities, less business funding, all these different things about how women have it harder in the workplace. Even if it's just like, they say because of their looks and all these different things, the way that they can dress, they can be provocative, all these things. It's because us women, we have literally tried to mold ourselves to being like a man. And that is what feminism is. It's basically you trying to acquire the characteristics of a guy and put them into yourself to succeed, which you can get things like that by force if you want to, right? There's that aspect of getting what you want through force. But in the end, it's not true to your nature. Females literally have lost their touch with the most powerful thing that they have. That's just being able to receive. What is being able to receive? It's like, call it woo-woo magnetism, call it whatever it is. But we have morphed ourselves out of our true nature to try to become something else. And it doesn't mean that you cannot be ambitious, that you can't be independent, but your independence is keeping you away from everything that you love. It's keeping you away from the business that you want, the relationship that you want, because you have it all. So where's there's the space to come in and help you?
Yeah, I think that's a problem for like a lot of women in today's society. It's like, okay, I can do X, Y, and Z, pay my own bills. I have a great career. I have everything I could want. What do I need a man for? That's literally what women are saying today online. And I've thought that myself as well. I'm like, I can do it all. But what's the downside to doing it all? It's like not being your feminine energy and giving off that more masculine energy, which I think can also scare men away. But I don't necessarily, just going back to like what feminism really means, I don't know if it necessarily is like becoming a man. Like that to me, that's not what feminism is. It's more so just like the empowerment of being a woman and being able to have a career and be independent. But it's like we've taken it so far. I think that's what like this woman last night was saying, like the demise of females these days is feminism, because we've just taken it to this next level that has become this like she can be the man.
And it's feminism has like taken to the level where they're even putting down men. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's like we're like, you're weaker than us because we're making more money than you, or I don't know. It's like even little things like I actually was on a date last night. I said I wasn't going to talk about the date on the podcast, but here I go. But like this guy like opened the door for me and like was such a gentleman. But I was like the fact that I feel like not uncomfortable, but like You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why do I feel uncomfortable that he was opening the door for me to get in the car?
It's part of receiving.
Because
And
I'm just like, I'm the man. I'm just like,
you're just
what's
not
going
used
on?
to, you're not used to receiving.
Yeah.
Because feminism, it's like this go-getter mentality, right? Like, let's go, let's hunt. Hunting is a masculine thing. Receiving is a female thing, right? But hunting on its nature, I'm not saying you're masculine if you're feminist. And actually, as a female, like in any person, you literally expand your capacity to be able to hold it all. So if you want to build that business, if you want to be ambitious, if you want to do all these things, you can. And also be able to have the capacity to be like a bigger and like more expansive version of you.
Yeah. And that's what I want to really dive in with you is like for all the ambitious women listening, I think even much, I can't speak, more so for me recently, like this subject has been coming up of like, even like my parents would be like, well, maybe you're a little like too intimidating for a lot of the guys out there. But my parents don't say that in a negative way. Like my dad is the father that's like, you do you, girl, like be independent. Like I was raised like that. Like my own dad is like, you're going to find the right guy who's like not intimidated by your success.
Yeah.
Which I do think is true. But on the flip side, there's definitely work that I can do myself to just like channel that energy. And like you said, receive and let the man like be the man. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to be the man. And I don't think a lot of women
I think
do want to be.
None of them do.
Yeah, we
Even
don't.
Even if they're super like, you know, getting everything, they just want to get home and be like, oh, I get to be taken care of today. Not like, man, I need to plan the trips. I need to, you know, like.
Right.
You
but
just
it's
wanna
like you
relax.
said, it's like making space for that. So how do you do that? So I want to like circle back to that whole idea of how to actually like channel your feminine energy. What does feminine energy even mean? And like how can ambitious women actually put that into practice? But before we get there, tell us a little bit about your background in terms of like your career. I mean, you mentioned that you were like the macho woman before, like doing everything on your own, but now you're sitting here today in front of me as a married woman. You manifested your, you know, dream home in Miami, coming here from Costa Rica. You've also converted to Judaism. So you've gone on your own spiritual journey, everything and all. So I want you to share with us all about that.
Yeah. So I grew up, you know, because of circumstances, my brother was sick when he was younger. So I always had to like figure out a way to work on my own, right? I lived for like a year by myself, put it that way. So I always grew up in a way like, you know, let's be hyper independent. I can take care of myself because I had to at one point in my mind, right? So we developed these mechanisms to protect ourselves and the identity that we want to be, right? I don't want to be seen as someone that's weak. I don't want to be seen as someone that's not capable, right? And all of these things really developed me and put me into a career where I was like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know that I love money and I know that I want to have a business. So I went into, you know, I did finance. I was doing M&A deals, closing down factories, like 8-figure projects, all on my own. Then I went into consulting world and everything. And I was like, everything is out of alignment here. At that time, I had started to dabble more into like, okay, like there is a higher energy. Like, okay, I'm open to the universe. That's what I would call it. I would never say God. That was too like, it was like awkward for me. Same as like the receiving the door. It was like, like I can't receive it, right?
And you did not grow up like practicing any sort of religion?
No, not really. It
Okay.
was, you know, I grew up, like I was born Catholic, put it that way. But I remember I would sleep at my friend's house on Sundays and like everybody would go to church and I would like stay at home and like not do anything, or I just wouldn't sleep at like this specific like friend's house and stuff like that. Like it was never big in my family. My family was like very logical, very scientific, put it that way. So I used to be like agnostic, like atheist, and then I became spiritual, and then, you know, now I'm religious. But it definitely was like a journey of, you know, me quitting everything as I knew it. Like, let me rebuild my life in a way that I truly want it. I'm not happy. The way that it's reflecting was I was full of acne. And, you know, validation for a woman and her beauty, it's something that it's a big thing for a woman. And so to that space where I'm a social butterfly, but I did not want to leave my home because I didn't want people to see me because of all the acne that I had. And I remember one of my friends, she was, you know, kind of like a mentor coach. And she's like, it's expressing it internally what you're repressing. And that's really how I went into the journey of like getting into coaching. And I moved to Europe for like 6 months. I was living my best life. And it was really, you know, I always said, if there was only one, people would ask me, what did you do to change and get everything that you want? And I just said, I learned how to receive. I couldn't receive a compliment. You were telling me like, oh my God, you're, the silliest thing. Like your hair looks so good. And you're like, oh my God, I haven't washed it in 4 days. And it's like, why do you have to explain, deflect, or like simply squash the compliment, right?
Like just own it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, thank you. I fully receive that. And it could be awkward if you're not complimenting people back, but it's like, just take it in and then it'll become natural. You can always give a compliment, but just being able to receive it. And, now, so fast forward, I was in my business. I was coming back and forth, right? I didn't know where I wanted to live. And so I put my dating apps here in Miami. I had traveled here for a trip and I had left. The day after I left, I connected with my husband, and 2 weeks later, he flew me out here, and we've been in each other's life ever since, like living together 24/7.
So he flew you here, and I want to which is amazing. Yes. No, and that's not that came off as like, oh, like he's just flying you out. But no, I mean, you were letting him do that, and like you were receiving that. So he clearly, like, you were in your feminine energy. What does feminine energy actually mean in practice to you?
To me, feminine energy in practice, it's like truly embodying and understanding that everything is good, everything will work out, and everything is meant to happen the way it does. And it's being able to like have trust and surrender, which that whole definition that I just gave is the definition of that. It's knowing that doesn't matter what, you're always taken care of. You're always okay. That is the embodiment of feminine energy. It's the magnetism of being able to attract things and being able to get everything with ease, right? Sometimes we work so hard for things, and it's really just being able to like bring it in. And like you said, I was very masculine before. My husband does not believe me. He's like, what do you mean you're very masculine? I'm like, I was a girl that would go to a nightclub and would literally pay for the bottle service with somebody that invited us, because I'm like, I can take care of that. By no means did I have like the money to just be like balling like that. But I was like, I can take care of it. I don't need any man to like be able to try to And it was truly like very uncomfortable to receive and to not do it in the way at the beginning. It's like, I would say that they have to pay for a flight, because I was really, really, really trying to connect to my feminine, because I'm like, what is this? And so I would look at all this advice online, and it was so, it was in a way that it was not the feminine that I wanted to be, and it's not the feminine that I am right now. It's a feminine where you impose and it said like, this is what I want and this is what I expect from you. And it's like an expectation that you put on them, and they disguise it as boundaries. Right? It's like, I don't accept less than this.
Oh, so when you were looking up like what feminine energy was at the time, it was giving you this definition of like,
it's like putting boundaries, like not allowing less than you deserve into your life. And I took that in a different way.
Yeah.
Right?
That's definitely a lot of the dating advice out there is like, know your worth. Everyone's like, the bar is on the floor, but your bar is here, and like no one goes below your bar. And that's definitely a more like masculine, I think, perspective if we're using those terms.
It's like toxic.
Yeah, or toxic. Yeah.
But I am a person that I need to go far left and far right in order to find my center, like my middle. And, it was very uncomfortable, but I'm like, you know what? And by the way, my husband, he always was the type that would take you for a coffee date. He doesn't drink. So he would take you for a coffee date, because he's like, it's not even about the money. It's that I don't want to spend more than 20, 30 minutes with you if I don't like you. So he's like, I do that low risk. And I'm like, yes, but make it that you find the right girl, and then you'll buy her a ticket for $800.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like, it's also like a balancing act of like, okay, you obviously were the right girl for him. He's not going to do that for like a random girl. But I think on top of that, you also put in the work behind it to be able to present yourself in a specific way, because maybe he had met you a year or two before when you were more in your masculine and wouldn't be flying you out to Miami.
No, we would be butting heads.
Yeah.
Because, a strong masculine man, not every woman wants this, nor should they, right? Because you can butt heads a lot. And, being able to surrender and be feminine sometimes can be seen as like submissive. And like, he's always, it doesn't have a good rep either.
But yeah, no, there is a fine line, right, of being like too feminine and then it's seen as submissive, right? So how do you just kind of have a balancing act with you and your partner, but like, you know, him shine in his way and you shine in your way? How have you found that and like found a way to navigate that within your marriage?
I say that I'm so blessed that I worked so hard on me that I literally called a man that, you know, the example that I give, it's like he always opens the doors for me, right? Every single time, but he doesn't even do it for me. He does it for himself. I say if you work strongly enough in yourself, you're going to awaken the characteristics that you want of the man inside of you. He never opened doors. He never bought a flight for anyone in his life. And I worked so much on myself that I literally activated those characteristics in him. And if you talk about, you know, Kabbalah, Judaism, each person, that's why you date someone and you're like, they're a complete narcissist. But then the other person dates them and they're like, they're the best thing in this world. And you're like, it's the same person. Why did one person activate this in him and one didn't activate that? And first off, it's your interaction between the two of you that starts activating those things. But second of all, it's the things that you came here to correct. That's the only way for you to be able to correct them. There's so many, you can correct yourself, work on yourself in painful ways, right? A heartache, a breakup, you know, a loss, all these different things. Or you can actively decide to work on yourself and you can learn all the lessons without actually feeling that it's painful. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, what were some of those lessons and things that you did in that transitional period of like trying to become this different version of yourself? And like, was that through like this more spiritual lens? Was it like Kabbalah? Like walk us through like what steps you actually took to like get to that place.
So the steps were understanding who you wanted to be with, right? Each and every one of us have a different blueprint of who we are supposed to marry, right? We're all so different. And it was like, okay, these are the things that I want in a man. And then getting really clear, who do I have to be? And then it's starting to change those. And so it's like, okay, you need to be more feminine, right? That can be different for every single person. For me, it was like, okay, let me allow, I always say do exposure therapy. What does that mean? It would be as simple as like, instead of opening my own like soda can, I ask anyone like, hey, can you open that for me? Or just like allowing yourself to be like taken care of in a sense, like asking for help. That personally for me, that was so hard. That was one of the things that I had to do. Practically like what were exposure therapies, I put it that way, that I did for myself was first learning how to ask for help. Second one is if you're Jewish already, Shabbat is the best thing ever. But like keeping it the right way, like the Orthodox halacha way. But the one of the biggest things that I did was when I was traveling in Europe, I had so much free time. And so what did I did? Instead of like always filling up my time with personal development podcasts, meeting friends, like building connections, like trying to be productive and doing, I just had to be like being, literally just existing and like being with my thoughts and understanding what is it that I don't like about myself that makes me want to like seek validation from people, that make me want to like be in a more masculine role. And it was understanding what are the parts of me that I don't like, I don't want to bring into a relationship, and how can I change those? How can I see it differently? How can, you know, even just by the awareness, you start shifting yourself. Does that answer it?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. And I'm curious too, because you've obviously coached a lot of clients. I assume a majority of them are female. Yes. And maybe you're getting more into like the female coaching right now. What are those women like coming to you specifically for?
A big one, it's like boundaries. So the first one is being able to like set boundaries.
In just general relationships, or is this like more romantic relationships or just in life?
I would say both. Like okay. I remember one of my clients, she's like, I don't even have time alone in my bathroom. Like the dog even has to come in. Yeah. Right. And it's like boundaries in a sense, it's also the part of like, you don't put yourself first, right? So learning how to put yourself first, that is a boundary. A lot of, you know, for example, a mom, they will put themselves last because their kid is their world and they are always doing something for someone, or like their husband, like you're always serving, right? Because it's like, it's a symbiotic relationship. They serve you, you serve them. But at what point do you each fill your cup, right? And another one, you know, ask me the question in a different way.
In terms of like what clients are looking for?
Yeah. What is the real question there?
what are the problems women are facing today? I don't know, Veronica, what are you trying to get out? What are you trying to get out?
I was trying to get a clearer question, but it's honestly the ability to receive. Boundaries is a big one, but it all comes down to the ability to receive. Like, can they receive more money? Do they feel worthy of it?
Like imposter syndrome, like in the workplace?
Imposter syndrome is a different one, yes.
Okay, yeah.
So that's another one.
Because that's a limiting belief, right? It's like, I can't make as much money as my peer who's a guy, for example, because I'm not good enough, or a guy is a better salesperson than I am, like whatever it is. I mean, I think a lot of women feel that in the workplace.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's an imposter syndrome. It's worthiness. It's, when I also say boundaries, then there's also delegation. Like, a lot of us feel like, if you do something and you do it very well, but you don't like it, but you do it well, you'll still hold it. And sometimes you just have to understand what you're good at. And people have a hard time letting go of things because you think, oh, it's quicker if I just do it than if I delegate it. And it's always like holding everything so tight to you. It's like, let me hold my family together. Let me hold all the responsibilities that it take care in my business and my work and anything that there is. And it's like they don't know how to be like, oh, let me just let go. Yeah, everything can be taken care of so that I can take care of me.
Yeah.
And so you leaving yourself last.
I can relate to that a lot. I don't really trust anyone else. I'm like, I'll just do it all.
Yeah.
And not delegate to anyone. But like, that's what it's not doing for me. That's draining my energy. It's probably not allowing me to show up as well as I could be in just my general life and for attracting like the right partner, for example. So yeah, that definitely is relatable. What about manifestation? Because we hear that a lot. I believe in manifestation, but I'm not like as spiritual. I've never actually like thought to myself, well, no, let me take a step back. I think a lot of people think manifestation is like, oh, I have to actually actively think about something or actively write something down. And that's what manifesting is. But I remember I listened to something that you wrote or you spoke about and you're like, you're manifesting every single day.
So I was just going to say that.
What does that mean? How am I manifesting every single day?
Okay. So you say that you're not very spiritual, right? So do we want to go logical?
Let's go logical for now.
Okay. Yeah. So when you're manifesting, what does that mean? So when you were growing up, you, by whatever, like your religion, your environment, your parents, whatever you were surrounded by, you started absorbing, right? You are a sponge. If you see a kid, they will literally copy you in the ways that you do things. Your brain starts doing that, but with everything that it does around. It does, like I said, something happened in your life, you use it as a coping mechanism. All of these are like story banks. If the best movie that I could say for kids to watch, or even adults, like my kids are watching this. I watched it with my husband. It's Inside Out. Do you know what movie it is?
Yeah, okay. Of course.
It's like how all the memories go like bloop, the ball, and then it goes and it gets archived, right?
Yeah.
And it gets sent to the back memory. But in your way of living, everything is running through those memories, right? Everything, it's like neural pathways in your brain. So if you are, showing up and you're like, okay, I don't know. You always say like, oh my God, I never X, Y, and Z. You're always trying to prove yourself right. You're always going to try and find proofs. Like if you like a car, let's say that you like a red car. It's a red car syndrome. It's a theory. As soon as you walk outside of the parking lot, you're going to see a gazillion red cars. Why? Because it's all that you're focused on.
Right, it's all you're thinking about. Yeah.
So manifestation, when I'm saying that you're literally manifesting every single day, it's you don't actually consciously doing it, but subconsciously you are. The cues, the way that you speak, the way that you behave, how you say, like everything is sending like signals, right? And when you want to think it about a little, it's still like quantum, like, energies, all of this, it sounds more woo-woo. But when you think about it, you have like a 6 feet of like energy surrounding you, right? And in that, you are literally like attracting things, put it that way. And it's just like an energy field. It's like you're a walking magnet. So that's why you resonate with some people. You don't resonate with other people. And you're always wondering like, why don't we find this type of people? Okay, what are your beliefs around, whatever type of people that you want to start hanging out with? That you yourself, you're probably hindering yourself from that. You're probably saying like, oh, well, I don't have enough to exchange in value to be part of, that people. So you fall back to your default, to your comfort. So that's what I say, that you are always manifesting. Consciously or not, your reality is always what you're proving yourself right in your brain.
So I like that example. And let's like talk about that more in like I guess just the dating context, since we've talked about that a little bit today. So let's say a woman's like, I've been attracting this type of guy, or like, the non-committal, the emotionally unavailable type of man. And like, I'm done. Like we've hit our breaking point. That's not what we want. What inside, like, can a woman do to attract the partner that is emotionally available? Like, what is it that she's not believing in herself or listening? Like, what is it in her thoughts, subconscious, that she's not believing that she can,
so
quote unquote, manifest this type of person?
So everyone's so different, so I'm not going to say one thing that they have in their thoughts, right? But I will say this. There is a reason why you're dating that person and you like that person, right? And there is this story that you're trying to prove yourself, right? So like if you think back at a relationship and you say, okay, what was the good in me bringing that relationship? It could be that you changed your whole life. You became this, you became that, you became, X, Y, and Z. But the reason why you're always coming down to that, it's because you want to prove yourself, right? Like let me give you an example.
So, I mean, I can talk from my own experience, right? So like I, dated a guy for probably like a year when I was living in New York, and I was like 25, 26. But this man, like on paper, seemed great, right? But in practice, and great is like tall and Jewish. Okay, let's just put it there. Okay, I was like, he's tall and Jewish, has a good job, from where I'm from, whatever. But in practice, like this man and I were not compatible. Like we did not have things in common. We were not just on the same page at all. And like he was emotionally draining. And I like really wasn't out myself in this relationship because like our energies were not in sync. But I was with him because like I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know like what a real relationship, was at the time. I was going for something like characteristics that truly like don't matter at the end of the day. And yeah, it's like, why was I attracting that?
Why do you think you were attracting him?
I liked the game of the emotional availability. Emotional
Why?
unavailability.
Why?
I liked the chase. I thought I could change him. I was attracted to toxicity.
No,
it's deeper than that. I don't know. Like I don't know.
There could be a part, like the first thing that just came to mind, it's maybe you said like the characteristics, like the values were not aligned. Yeah. And there could have been a part of you where maybe you are afraid of confrontation and you don't want to have these conversations. It's easier to figure it out down the road instead of figuring it out now. And
I think it was also like scarcity mindset at the time. Yeah. I'm like, oh, there's not that many, good looking tall Jewish guys that have a good job. And like, we're from similar places, like great. Like again, on paper, thought that was him in the beginning. And then it was like, oh, he has potential. And like, we can see it through. And in the end, it was like really, really bad for me in the relationship. And eventually, like I wasn't with him for that long, but I have other friends that have been in similar situations and went on for years. Right. Yeah. And they accepted that type of, not that he treated me badly, but like accepted just the fact that like there was negativity, like that was bringing the woman down in those cases.
No. And I think like, And I remember because even back then, like when I was in the dating scene, like I remember you always think like, oh my God, there's no more good men that are this way, right? And you get in a very scarcity thinking because you're making it about like what you can find instead of who you can be.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So if I focus on me and working on my happiness by default, I will only be available for a certain type of person.
No, and I agree with that because I think at the time, like I think about my mindset then versus my mindset now, and I've talked about this in other like dating specific episodes, is in my early 20s, I was like way more focused on dating than I am now as like a 30-year-old, which is really interesting because from that perspective, like in my earlier 20s, it was all about like the validation from men and like wanting to meet guys and like for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, I actually know what I'm looking for and like know how I want to feel with my future partner, that like I'm not going to just like go out. It's not fun for me to like go out to a bar and meet random men. It's not fun. Like I'm not looking to just have a quick ego boost and like go on for the day. It was more of a desperate energy mindset because I thought that like dating was so important, and it is. And I obviously want that, but that's not everything, right? You need to be content with yourself first and like figure out who you really are and what makes you happy and what drives you before you can really like give to someone else and receive, like you said, I think.
I heard a rabbi in a podcast one. I And he said, it might have been like Rabbi Friedman. Do not quote me on that if you hear him. But he was saying, if you can't marry anyone, then you shouldn't marry anyone. And that is such a controversy because genuinely, you should be able to marry anyone. Why? Because you've worked so much in yourself that every situation, obviously I'm not saying, an abusive like relationship physically, like none of that. But I'm saying like you should be able to like be able to pause, like not react, be able to like work on yourself and work on things to be able to get that, right? We're all work in pieces. If we all have the compassion of it, then you can make any relationship work. But at one point, right? And honestly, like my theory is if you think too long about dating, eventually it's going to be a no. Why? Because you're going to find the things that you clash with.
What do you mean if you think too long?
So personally, I think, like I got engaged and married very quickly. And I think some relationships get dragged for years.
Oh, I see. I actually agree with you. I think if you're like dating for 5 or 6 years and you don't have a ring on it, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. And there's a lack of commitment. It might be that there's a lack of certainty in that person. There might be a hope that there might be something better. But in complete honesty, like you really have to just work on yourself and being able to not be so reactive. And if you're able to not be reactive, you can be with anyone because they shouldn't be able to get to you emotionally, right? Obviously, we're humans. Like sometimes, like, yes, I might snap, but it's just that I need time for myself. So like, let me give you an example. I was not a person that cooked. And at one point I was resenting that I always had to cook. Why? It wasn't so much as the act of cooking. It was the act that I never made space for myself. So I would wake up in my day and I would have to think about breakfast. It's like, okay, now what do I do for lunch? It's like I never woke up and I would never give time for myself. And when you're dating, like if you're not happy with yourself, it does not matter what the other partner does. You're not going to be happy. And you're going to be a B with them. You're not going to be nice because a happy person, nobody can make you happy. So you have to learn how to be happy with yourself. And that's where a lot of women say like, well, then why do I need a man? Why? Because you are depriving your soul from the highest form of self-development. People say that businesses is self-development on crack. Relationships are even more. But we're so used to it. It's such a day-to-day thing. It's so casual that we don't take it as that opportunity. But the quickest way, like people say like, oh my God, I'm completely healed. I'm ready to date, right? And then they go into a relationship and then they might fall back into their patterns. Or they might always be fighting. Why? Because it's very easy to be a healed or like non-reactive person when you're single. When you're in a relationship, you're constantly dealing with their cocoon, with their reactions, with their traumas, with their stories that they had growing up. Now it's not only yourself, it's being able to, now how do I blend these two? And if you're very different like me and my husband, it's like, how can you like unify those two? And how can you make yourself a cohesive like unit where you're always like working and developing in each other and like always like elevating? Like I say, he's the right person if you like yourself with him.
Yeah, like you should be the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
When you're you should bring out the best version of your partner.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So for women that are feeling like down about dating right now and just men, because I think there's a lot of negativity online about just men in general, which I think is awful. And unfortunately, there's just the majority of people talking about dating are women. So it's kind of become this echo chamber. Like I wish there were more men online, like talking about masculinity and, dating and just romance. It's sad. I wish more guys talked about it.
Why it is? Females don't allow them to be romantic.
Yeah.
Like they buy you flowers from, I don't know, Target, Publix, like, and they're like, I don't like this. It has thorns because it's not from a place that it's fully like decorated. And it's like, well, if you say that, he's not going to do it again.
Yeah.
And slowly by slowly, like you are taking all the pleasure away from them.
Well, also it's become like uncool to be emotionally available too. Like a lot of women, not that it's uncool, but it's like the girls are like, oh, he texted me so quickly. He texts back so fast. Like it's like the littlest things that just like turn women off. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I'm not speaking, like I totally have been that type of girl. So I understand.
Yeah, it's the game.
It's the game. Obviously, there's a balance to everything. But I think in today's day and age, like women, we've lost the plot when it comes to like what a man can provide. And there are really great men out there. Like I've met them. They exist. So I don't want women to lose faith. I mean, I get it. Like I lose faith some days too, but then we're up again. Like it's there's bad days, there's good days. But for women that are like, what is this relationship even going to bring to me if I'm giving this all to myself? Like, what can you remind them?
What do you mean that? Oh, what can they bring them if I can give myself everything?
What can a man actually do if women are so stuck in this bubble of like, oh, I can do it all, I don't need a man? Like, I think we need a reminder of like what is so great about love and what's so great about a partnership and like what the man can actually bring to the table in a relationship.
I get chills because it's like being able, like, and not every relationship it's like that, but like me and my husband are truly best friends. I didn't know what that meant. But it's like when we started dating, like I would come visit him. We would go to the gym together like every day. Like we were not like separate from each other. And up until today, we're not. Like now I like to do more Pilates, but it's truly like being able to have that companion. Like, yes, I get it. You are your only relationship that you'll have from the moment that you're born till the moment that you die. But how cool would it be that from a certain point in your life to the moment that you die, you actually have someone to carry all those relationships? And sometimes you think about all the, emotion and pleasures that you can have right now if maybe, you can enjoy your life and be single. But as a female, like your whole gift is to nurture. And, sometimes we grab our businesses to be like a thing that we nurture, right? And it's like, when your parents pass away at some point, and God willing, they'll pass away before you do, wouldn't you want to be able to share with someone? Wouldn't you want to be able to have someone to be able to be that safe haven for you, that person that you get to relax? We're in that place where, do you always want to be guarded? Do you always want to be in your masculine, like trying to go? Or do you want to be able to like relax and be able to receive and be able to be able to have that emotional, like safe harboring.
Yeah. And that connection with someone.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's hard because women in general just have better female relationships versus like men to male relationships. Like men just generally don't have the best relationships with other men. Like it's just a fact. Women connect so deeply with our girlfriends, and I think a lot of women are like, I have my girls, like I don't need a guy because I have these relationships,
But there would say it's our beliefs, because I was always like a girl's guy, and for me, like guys have amazing relationships, and like girls they don't have as good.
Interesting. That's your perspective?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So
I have the opposite.
So now you're seeing how like we're always manifesting our reality.
But it's our own thoughts. Yeah. Exactly. And that's like what I've continuously believed consciously or subconsciously. Interesting. Yeah.
And you know why, you're like, I have my girls, right? Why do I need a guy? I have these amazing relationships. Okay. So relationships, this might be controversial, but the reason why men cheat, it's because, there's amongst other reasons, but let's say, that they're like happy, they're whatever it is, they cheat because they feel like you're not a safe person to be able to like open up to. And if you think about it, the people that cheat is typically like the woman that they go to is a woman that made them feel safe to open up. Whether it was even about the issues that he was having at home with you. But if you are able to create that space, which I think sometimes as female, we fail to do that. So, and you're able for him to be able to confide everything on you, the relationship with your husband is even more deep than with your girlfriends. Why? Because you're living with them. You are talking about how you're going to build a family, a future. And there's a degree of complexity of how you're going to raise your kids. And if you want to have kids, which God willing you do, but there's a bigger complexity of life, how you're going to manage finances. And you really, really, really have to talk about all of this, because that's what will break relationships. The lack of communication of how you manage finances, how you decide to deal with the problems. Are you going to talk about it with your family? Are you going to talk it amongst yourselves? Because if you always go and like, I was always the person that would talk to my best friend about it. And my husband's like, you don't talk to anyone, you talk to me. Why? Because that way we can figure it out. If not, my best friend is going to have a bad image of him, and we already fixed it, but she has that image taint. And then it's also them giving me their opinion. It's a third party perspective. Like we said, we have different opinions, different views. And so when they're giving me their opinion, then I'm morphing my opinion on him based on what everybody else is telling me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that can also not lead to the most positive thoughts. So what about for men? Because we've talked a lot about like what women can do to change just the way that they think about dating, just the way they think about themselves. But when it comes to men in today's world, like maybe they're seeking an ambitious woman, maybe they're not. What is advice? Because I find that, and Veronica, maybe you'll hate this, and I'm going to ask you, but when I like, as a single woman, like I've never had a problem going up to a guy at a bar. And maybe that's like macho of me, but a lot of men are very afraid to approach nowadays.
Really?
Yes. Oh, maybe this is also just because I'm not in my feminine. But no, I think, but this is across the board. A lot of women say this. Like men are just scared. I think it's a post-Me Too movement. People don't want to come off as creepy, come off as weird. So there's that. There's probably just a general lack of confidence. And then the third is just, I don't think people really know how to socialize in like a post-COVID world. I think that's also big. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of reasons. But in general, I think the right guys, like the confident guys, like will approach. But I think majority, like a lot of women have said that they've met their partners because they were the one to shoot their shot first, or like approach the guy. From there, the guy like asked them out, like took the lead, whatever. But I know a lot of girls who have like met their partner because they were the one to make the first move. What do you think about that?
I have no issues with that.
You don't? Okay.
And I think, you know, my husband will say like, no, the guy has to do the first move, but you can always like signal them. Like there is a playful way of doing things where it's not, like you can still be in your feminine and do those.
Yeah, like I think if a guy looks at you, for example, like if you're walking on the street, if we're walking on Brickell Ave or in just like the city center, if a guy looks at you and there's like a little bit of a vibe and he doesn't say anything, why don't you say hi? Like, or just give him a little wave.
I think, you know, what's yours can't miss you, right? And it could even be that what's yours, somebody else is holding it. You know, in Kabbalah, they say like sometimes your soulmate might be married to someone else. And it doesn't mean that you have to like go into that relationship, right? But it's like work on you and just like trust that the right person would come to you. I know that's like the controversy of manifestation, like, oh yeah, just sit here and like, no. It's like obviously like go put yourself out and like, you know,
the universe,
out there.
In the wild.
I was like traveling to the US every other month. Like my dating apps was here. Like I swiped right on my husband.
Yeah, you have to put yourself in front of these opportunities.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between like the women that are like, oh my God, I need to meet a man. I need to meet a husband, like that desperate energy versus like, okay, I'm chilling. Like, like the way that you perceive that energy, it's just so clear. Like the difference between the two.
And it's like I said, your energy field around you is carrying everything that you believe in. It's
like
carrying,
you are what you attract for sure.
Yes, it's carrying all your frequencies, right? And so maybe you're not approachable because your energy, it's closed off.
Right.
And you know, there's that part where, you know, yes, you do have to go out there and you do have to go and do the things. But at one point you also have to understand like the right person will come to you when it comes to you. And when you're going, like you said, in the desperate energy, you're not going from a place of wholeness. And when you're not going for a place of wholeness, essentially you might get blindsided. And it's what a lot of times happens, or at least it happened to me, that it's like, oh my God, I need this. I want somebody that's a provider. And then one of my biggest like blindsiding things was money, right? If they have money, okay, that's perfect. They can take care of me. It's like there's so much more
things.
Yeah. But when you're going out of a necessity, right? Out of like, maybe you're like, oh my God, I'm in my 30s. Like I'm like, I need to get married. Like I want to have
kids. Or it's like, it's like the scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's not enough. I need to like.
This is the only good man. So he's the right person.
Right.
It's like, is he the right person for you? Because there's plenty. Like, as a matter of fact, like all of my husband's friends, like they're all amazing people. Most of them are single. But
why do we think that way, right? All women are like, there's no good men.
Yeah.
And, you know?
And
that is a limiting belief in itself. Like that, having that mindset too of like, all men suck. There's no good men out there. Like the algorithm that it's feeding us is so detrimental.
Well, and you're all like, Instagram is feeding that to you.
Yeah.
So everything you're seeing, it's that.
But then it's like, then your friends start talking about it. Then
Yeah.
like, I honestly stopped surrounding myself with girls that like talk negatively about dating because I'm like, I genuinely, I can't be around this. And my best friend and I, we literally will talk to each other. We're like, okay, it was a bad day. Like she had a bad date, you know, a few weeks ago, and this guy like ended up ending things with her out of the blue. And like, she had a gut feeling it was happening. And so she was like a little upset for like a little bit, but then we're like, tomorrow's a new day. We're being positive. Like, I think you just need to make an active mindset shift to be positive, and then like it will come. But being negative and being around that energy is just not it.
And always think, what is this trying to teach me? What do I need to learn about myself? So you went on a bad date, right? Like, I don't know, give me an example of a bad date and actually like something. Why was it a bad date? One.
Oh man. Last night. No, I'm kidding. What's an example of a bad date? Well, for me, the most recent bad date I can think of was just the guy was like just a bit younger than me and like immature, honestly. And just like we were in different stages of life. Like he just moved here from Israel. He's like starting his career over at 26. I'm 30. I'm looking for something a bit more intentional. And I just felt like there was a clear line of immaturity there. So it wasn't necessarily a bad date. It just like wasn't a match.
Yeah. So
I guess people do have bad dates though, like actual bad dates where like maybe the guy is like gay or something.
Yeah, but no.
Sorry, maybe we got to cut that out. I have a theory that I can't say that. I'll say it off the podcast. But no, I don't know. I haven't had an actual bad date recently. Oh, you know, my only real bad date was like the guy is Shomer Shabbat, and I'm obviously not Shomer Shabbat, and I'm like, it was a setup, and I'm like, why am I going out with the Shomer Shabbat man? Like,
then ask yourself, like, what is there for me to learn about it?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you are in a bad day, right? Let's say that you're actually like, you're in there. And it's like, how can you make the best out of it? Like, what can I pull from him? You know, if he's Shomer Shabbat, you're like, well, we were just not compatible. I don't want to live that life. You're like, okay, can I ask you something? Like, what do you feel like, you know, during Shabbat? What do you feel like? Do you feel like a connection? Like, what do you think you're creating within yourself? Like, are you recreating yourself? Like, what is the connection? Like, be curious about others and ask to understand, right? And it's like, if that was presented in front of you, like there was a reason that you were set up with him. And it's like,
that's interesting.
What do they see that we would match on? And where am I disconnected from that reality?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think in my head, I went into the day being like, oh, it's okay. He won't be religious anymore. But I think it's the opposite. Like if you're Shomer Shabbat, you're likely wanting your partner to be more religious with you, which I completely understand. But no, regardless, it was like I love meeting new people. So I think every day is an opportunity. And this is what I say to all my friends. And I've done, oddly enough, like my friends make fun of me because like a lot of guys that I've dated, just like casual 1 or 2 dates, I'm friends with, like genuinely. Like I'll be like, oh, you know, like come to my event. Like it's networking. I'm like, if you're not going to date the man, use him for a connection, use him for your next job. Not use him, but like use your network. Like your network is your net worth. And like a date could lead you to your husband. Like you just don't even know. It might not be that guy is your guy, but what else could he lead you to? You genuinely don't know. So that's another good reason to like always try to be positive about dating. And like, even if he's not your man's, what else did it, like you said, like what else did it teach you?
I think the most beautiful way to go about life, like when you think about it from a more, you know, like I think the most beautiful way to look at the world, it's that everyone that you encounter has a purpose in it. And I'm not talking just the people that you go on a date with. I'm saying the person that packs up your grocery store in the groceries. Like, can you make a connection with them? Like, there is a reason you checked out with them versus anybody else. Can you figure out, even within like those like 3 minutes, like, are you meant to like help them? Are you meant to not? Is it like by even just like their presence, like you're shifting something in them, in yourself? Sometimes you just like see someone and you think everybody, it's, you know, oh, it's just like life. Like we're just all passing like through each other. And it's like everything, how beautiful it's that you look at life. Like everything, everyone that you encounter, it's a divine thing that you should have. And it's like, how can you approach even dating that way? Like, how can they be the best thing that ever came into my life? Like, I have people that I've met in the bathroom of a conference, you know, like the girl talk. I just say something to them and they say like, oh my God, like because of a bomb that you dropped in the bathroom and then you left. She's like, you made me see it differently. And because of you, I started becoming a keynote speaker. And she actually went into like the she did like the Grant Cardone event and everything. She was like top 3 speakers. Like she was in their big conference. She didn't win the contest, but she started applying for all these big events, which she started eventually getting all of them because of something that I said. In my mind, I'm like, what did I tell you? But
Yeah,
it
you
was
never
just
know.
about believing yourself, and you never know. And it's like,
Yeah.
how beautiful if you can interact everyone as that. What can you give to everyone that you meet?
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. And that's a great way to leave this episode, I think. But I do want you to share, I think you have something coming up in Florida or in the Miami area. Like, are you doing workshops in person with women? Like, give us a little glimpse as to like what you're doing in person.
Yeah, so I don't know when this episode will be released, but next week I do have an in-person event keynote that it's all about. It's like a dinner series, but it's all about, you can be attracting everything in your life, but the reason why you're not getting it is because you can't receive it, right? Think about the stars. The stars are always there. Maybe you go out at night and you don't see them because it's clouded that night, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist there. It's the same with our ability to receive. Doesn't mean that all the opportunities, all the men are out there. And they might even be in our very, very close proximity, like right door next neighbor, but
Yeah,
you're
that's
just not
crazy.
receiving it. Your energy, your beliefs, whatever it is, like you just haven't earned that yet. So we're going to be tapping into that. And I do have resources online. I have a course about finding your soulmate in 40 days. I say the 40 days plus 2 days shipping. That's when I met Michael, 42 days after like an exercise that I do there. So yeah, I'm here and there hosting events in person.
Okay, amazing. Well, I'd love to come. Hopefully some of the listeners will come as well. And thank you for being here. This was so fun.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God.